I have an article here from Inverse.com. Baldur's Gate 3 can't overcome D&D's worst flaws. They can't all be critical hits. There's a part in here, I'll link this in the description box, you can read it for yourself. It's, it's okay, I guess, but there is a part here I want to talk about, because I think there's some validity to it, but then there's also some stuff I disagree with. Right here, Wizards of the Coast, D&D's owner, has made strides to strip the game of its racist subtext in recent years, but it's so ubiquitous it's impossible to eliminate completely. In Baldur's Gate 3, NPCs and party members alike constantly hurl slurs at each other. Mistrust of certain races form the backbone of the entire quest. The common defense of this type of fantasy racism is that it's meant to show its perpetrators are bad characters or help players confront real-world issues, but I'm not buying it. He goes on to say, leaning on fantasy bigotry is a boring way to portray conflict, and if you need convincing that racism isn't okay, I'm not sure Baldur's Gate 3 is going to fix your heart. I do agree with, the idea that not, because this is just like, trying to make it political. So I agree with that. I agree that you don't have to have tons of racism. Sometimes people want to get away. It's the whole escapism aspect. And I completely agree with that. However, at the same time, I don't think that portraying evil characters doing evil things is basically an acknowledgement or a condoning or whatever of said evil thing. If you have a bad guy who kicks a dog, that doesn't mean that you're pro-animal cruelty. If you have a bad guy doing, they're saying racist things or whatever, that doesn't mean that you are racist. That's one part I do disagree with people on when they talk about this kind of stuff more in, the woke side or whatever you want to call it. They act like, bad guys, they act like bad guys can't do bad things, essentially. Unless they're conservatives. Then it's okay because you got to portray them as horrible and evil as possible. Like, hell, it's to the point now where in a game, if a character, even says something as, to me, as common sense as, or it could be a movie, TV show, whatever. Well, I don't think biological men should be competing against biological women in a sporting event. You're labeled transphobic, you're labeled misogynistic, you're labeled, in some cases they try to even throw homophobia at you and so on and such forth. I think that's a pretty common sense thing. I think most people agree with that. They've had polls, 70-80% of people out there agree with that. To be honest, I think the number should be even higher. The number should be 99%, if not even higher than that, but whatever. But I understand the point here that this person's trying to make when they talk about, that you don't want to just, in essence, make everything political, in a way. I get that. You hear a lot of people say that. A lot of people want to get away from stuff. They want to escape from stuff. I'm totally fine with that. But when you have a bad guy, sometimes they got to do bad things. Now, if it's throwing racial slurs at somebody, or kicking the puppy or whatever. I think there's better ways to do it. I think there's good ways to do all this stuff. But I just think that that's a real fundamental problem with more and more people, I guess, nowadays, where they don't want evil people to do evil things. They say, well, you're condoning it. You're allowing it to happen. You like it. You this. And I think that's dumb. Bad people do bad things. It's is it a lazy way? Yeah, sure. But sometimes you don't have a lot of time. If you're writing a comic book, you got 22 pages. You don't want to spend half the issue revealing why Doctor Doom or whoever else is a bad guy. You just want to say he's a bad guy. You just want to give kind of the whole white hat, black hat kind of thing. Anyway, I'm starting to ramble here, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. But like I said, I'll link this in the description box. You can read it for yourself. It's not a terribly, bad article. I just disagree with some of that part. Like I said, I agree with a little bit of it, but then I also disagree. But anyway, I just think it's one of those things where I think you're going to see a variety of opinions on it. So you can make your own up. Let me know what you think and stuff. But thank you very much for watching, and have a good one.